Environmental Dynamics International provides a powerful tool to monitor the health of your aeration system. The Dynamic Wet Pressure, or DWP, monitoring system helps to provide a glimpse at how much fouling or buildup might be happening on your diffuser membranes. The DWP system is not hard to use, but does require a few simple steps to assure useful readings each time. Your DWP monitoring system has three main components: the DWP connection box, the monitoring box, and the connection hoses. The connection box is permanently mounted to the railing near the edge of the wastewater basin and above the diffusers used for monitoring. The monitoring box and connection hoses are moved around and used at each connection box. Follow these steps to take a reading with the DWP monitoring system. 1. Open the connection box mounted on the railing. You'll see three hose connection points with closed valves. Slowly open these valves and let any water that has condensated in the hoses blow out. Look at the clear tubing for any signs of water. After a minute or two, close the valves. 2. Hang the DWP monitoring box on the railing near the connection box and open the box. Notice the hose connection points on the side of the monitoring box. 3. Prepare the hose for connections. You'll notice that each of the three hoses are different sizes. Both the connection box and the monitoring box are labeled with the three sizes. It is important that the correct hoses be connected to the correct connection point. Important: connect the hoses to the side of the monitoring box first. 4. Once you have the hoses connected to the side of the monitoring box, you'll notice that the other ends of the hoses have small buttons in the ends of the hoses. Push these buttons and hold them in for a few seconds. This zeros the gauges. If the needles don't set exactly on zero, you can use a small screwdriver to fine-tune them. 5. On the monitoring box, make sure that the rotometer valve is closed, as is the bubbler blowdown valve. 6. Connect the hoses to the connection box. Double check that you are connecting the correct size of hose to the correct connection point. 7. Slowly open each valve in the connection box. It doesn't matter the order. Note that the gauges may peg when the valves are first opened. This is normal. Air is coming up the smaller 1/4 and 3/8 inch air lines and returning back down into the basin on the larger 1/2 inch line. On the monitoring box, slowly open the bubbler blowdown valve. This purges any water out of the return line. Leave it open for 15 to 20 seconds, then slowly close it. Then, open the rotometer valve. Note that the bead rises in the airstream. Open the valve so that the bead is in approximately the middle of the gauge. This tells us a small amount of air is being pushed back down the return line. This airflow subtracts out the water depth from the pressure readings. Observe the large gauges on the monitoring box. The left gauge is the orifice pressure. This number will change if the airflow to the system changes. You will want to confirm that this number is the same for each DWP reading. If not, adjust the airflow to the basin so that this number is the same for each measurement. Note that changes in the airflow can take time to be accurately reflected in the gauges. The right gauge is the dynamic wet pressure gauge. Make note of the values on these two gauges so you can track changes over time. If your basin has been in service for a while before your first reading, you can expect higher pressure readings as some fouling could be present. Finally, to shut down the system, close the rotometer valve and close the valves in the connection box. Then disconnect the hoses from the connection box and you are ready to move to the next measuring point. When not in use, store the monitoring box and the connection hoses in a safe, dry place. Let's review these steps. Number 1. Open the valves to the connection box to blow any water out of the lines. 2. Connect the hoses to the monitoring box, careful to match the hose size to the right connection point. Push the buttons on the hoses to zero the gauges. 3. Connect the hoses to the connection box, again, careful to match the hose size to the right valves. 4. Slowly open the valves in the connection box. 5. Slowly open the bubbler blowdown valve and keep it open for 15 to 20 seconds. Then close it. 6. Open the rotometer until the bead is about midway up the gauge. 7. Take your readings, making sure the orifice pressure, the left gauge, is the same each time. Record the readings for future comparison. 8. Shut down the system, rotometer first, then close the connection box valves. Then disconnect the hoses. If you have further questions, contact the EDI Service Department at 573-474-9456.